Okay, so Erin, if you simply can't get everything done, what do you do?
So I found that a lot of the times when you think you can't get everything done, it really is just in your head. Because most of the time, if you manage your time wisely, and you do all of the things that are super important first, and you get to the things that aren't as important later, then you're able to complete everything. So for instance, especially with my schoolwork this semester, I'm taking a lot of credit hours, so I usually have a lot of busy work and homework, and I try to get everything done 3 to 4 days in advance. That way, if something does come up, then I'm able to get it done.
Okay.
And how about you?
For me, I tend to rely on support because when I feel like I'm not getting anything done or I'm getting overwhelmed, I always have someone very close to me, normally a boyfriend or one of my friends, try and help me logic my way through things because I tend to get more emotional, and that's when things start to get a little cloudy. I can't prioritize properly. So once I have that other person get me back in the zone, then I'm locked and loaded.
Okay. And Erin, what will you do with the DVM if you don't go into private practice?
So right now I'm actually looking at lab animal, but if I didn't go into private practice with lab animal, I would probably go into teaching. So I'm really, really interested in being a professor. My high school job was working with kids to teach them swim skills, which isn't super related to teaching somebody like anatomy and physiology, but I think with that experience, I found a love for teaching. So if I didn't go into private practice, I for sure would love to explore teaching.
Okay, and you touched a little bit on teaching in the past. How has that impacted your choice?
So for teaching it, I taught at a swim school, and it was for kids, and I just really, really enjoyed kind of seeing whenever they eventually get something. So when a kid doesn't understand something, you can see they're getting frustrated, they don't understand it, they don't get it. But when they eventually get it, something just lights up, right? And you can kind of see that light bulb in their head go off, and that really is just something I love to see, especially in people that I'm invested in, that I've put time and the effort into teaching them, and I want them to understand. So seeing that light bulb go off is always a really rewarding moment.
Starting with April, what would you do if you don't get into vet school?
So for me, I will initially start with becoming a vet technician versus being an assistant. And I'll start with that, and then most likely for, side hobby or even a part-time job with that, I would want to get involved with horse barns and getting involved with grooming or training, because I've always had some interest in behavior, or even if that weren't work out, I would want to get into equine reproduction and see what I can do there.
And would you reapply?
Yes, I would reapply. I would give myself 2 shots. After 2 rejections, then is when I would find something else and go to my next plan.
And how about you?
So right now I'm double majoring. I plan on finishing my animal science degree my junior year. So I'm probably going to apply to get into vet school my senior year. So that would be I would enter into vet school after only doing 3 years of undergrad. And then if I don't get in on that first round, I'll just finish out my senior year, finish out that biochemistry degree, which is my second major, and then I'll apply again. And if I don't get in after that, I'll probably get a full-time job in the animal industry, just to work for expenses and to cover those expenses for vet school. And then after a couple of years, I'd probably reapply again, just after getting some more experiences in that industry. And then
So April, you talked about wanting to go into horse husbandry and possibly reproduction. What impacted your choice to do that?
So growing up, my aunt has always owned horses, and my parents would drive me up here to Raleigh since we were living in Camp Lejeune at the time, and she would just have me help her, around the barn. And of course I was tiny, so I couldn't really do much, but I always loved the experience. And for some reason, I've always called myself the beast tamer, because every horse or dog or whatever that would normally hate everyone has always seemed to love me, and I've always had a knack for those mean horses. So.
And starting with April, what actions do you take when a group member isn't performing their duties?
So for me, I normally will try and, lay out what needs to be done. If maybe they don't know what needs to be done or have questions or are too scared to ask, I'll normally take them to the side and be like, hey, what can we do to get you back on track? Or even at that case, if they're still not performing, then I would let everyone else in the group know, and then possibly a TA or professor if needed. if
So
it
you
gets
see
that far.
your role in a group as being the leader.
Yes.
And how about you?
I also see my role as a leader. I really, when we have a group project, I really enjoy just kind of being the first person to reach out and organize everybody and make sure that everybody's on track and setting up, roles for everybody and making sure that everybody knows what they're supposed to do in that group, and that way there's no confusion and it can all be, once we finally get together and we're working on something, everybody knows what's going on and we can get our work done so much more quickly and so much more effectively.
Mm-hmm.